Hey everyone, this is Mayur. Welcome to ML Works. Today we'll learn about virtual environment. So we'll discuss what is virtual environment first, and then we'll see why we should use one, and we'll start with creating a virtual environment. So what is a virtual environment? Yeah, virtual environment is a way to isolate your project, a Python project, from the rest of your system libraries and folders. So there are two key components to a virtual environment. First is a Python interpreter, that is your Python 3 or Python 2.7, whatever it is. And you also have a folder containing third-party libraries. Since we are creating a virtual environment, you should also have a folder where you will be storing your third-party libraries like PyTorch or TensorFlow, whatever it is, based on the kind of projects you are doing. And each virtual environment has its own Python binary. So consider you are working on multiple projects, so you can create multiple virtual environment, and based on the requirement of the project you can use what separate Python binaries, meaning you can use 2.7 or 3 3.5, whatever, right? Based on that you can what create multiple virtual environments. And to basically get started with virtual environment, you have to install first any of these following libraries which I'm mentioning here. It is venv, which is virtual environment, virtual env, pipenv, or conda. So these will what help you in creating a get started with the virtual environment. So why do we need virtual environment in the first place? Consider this diagram I am presenting here. So consider you have a system and you are working on what multiple projects, or you're working on one project and it has like multiple variants of that project. Okay, first in the first environment you have Python 3.7 and you are what have a detectron 2 library and a numpy 1.1. Okay, so now has the detectron 2 library has multiple models in it, like the deep learning models. So a new model is added to this particular library and there is a new release of that particular library. Now that particular library, okay, is incompatible with existing numpy. Okay, so what we have to do is we can create a separate virtual environment where we can update with a new detectron 2 along with our Python 3.7, and whatever the compatibility is required for detectron 2 with respect to numpy, we can do that also. Okay, so here what we are trying to avoid is we are not changing our experiment, that is in the virtual environment one we have. So we are not changing that. We are not creating any conflict by installing any other updated library in it. So we are just creating a separate environment for what doing our new experiments with the new models. Okay, this is how it is helpful. Virtual environments are, so it allows us what to handle multiple versions of your own different libraries, and without causing any conflict between the libraries, and also it also helps in what tracking your dependencies. For Detectron 2, you have NumPy 1.1 is the dependency, and Detectron 2.1, you can see there is a dependency of NumPy 1.2. So you can keep track of those things. And once you what done with your experiment, okay, if you are completely done with your experiment and you are moving out of this particular project, okay, so what you can do is you can what create a a requirement.txt kind of a file, okay, which will keep track of all the libraries which are installed inside your virtual environment, and you can share it across to a new team member, and he can just what install what is the requirement of that particular project or experiment, and he can easily run it. Okay, and once you're done with the completely done with the experiment itself, and you want to there is no use of this particular virtual environment, you can clearly delete that virtual environment from your system, okay, without any hassle. Okay, that's why we should use virtual environment. Even here, when we are doing our coding aspects, we will what do it in what virtual environment. So, how to create a virtual environment? So, first and foremost, we have to install Python 3-venv. So, this is the package we have to install. And once we have done with the installation, we have to what create Python 3. This is your interpreter -m, and then you're passing that venv is your what library for creating a virtual environment, and then you're passing the environment name my Python environment. Okay, once this is created, you can use this command source my Python environment /bin activate, and in this image we can see Python 3-m venv my virtual environment. Okay, once that is done, I'm activating that environment using source. Once that is done, we can see the terminal rate. First it was Mayur at Mayur. So once we have what activated the environment, we see my virtual environment, and then we are inside that environment. So whatever we have to do is we can install all the libraries from now on here and start working on our project. Once that is done, we can deactivate our virtual environment using a deactivate command. I hope you got this clearly. And in the next video, what I'll do is I'll talk about data structures, that is dictionary and tuple, and how to manipulate each of them. Okay. And if you have any questions, you can directly ping me on Telegram and Discord, and we can have a great discussion there. Yeah. Thank you.